are listening to Two Babies in a Business, a podcast about business, marketing, growth, strategy, staff, clients, babies, and marriage. I'm Christina. This is Peter. We're founders and leaders of CIPR Communications. And our kids are still watching The Grinch. Yes, we are recording back to back. So
back to back.
Hopefully it works. But interesting topic today. Reviews, referrals, and champions as a part of marketing strategy.
I ate like a champion today.
You ate like a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kitchen is very stinky.
Sardines.
Oh, Lord, help us all.
Anywho, it was a good meal.
None of the rest of the family ate those, but I'm glad you're feeling like a champion after.
Yikes. Important.
Yikes.
So what do you mean by champions when it comes to marketing? We love that word, by the way.
We use the word champions a lot.
Especially in marketing. I think that's something we're very big believers in, the concept of marketing champions and organizational champions, but I'll let you explain what that means.
I was going to say we like the word champions because I used to, do I call you champ anymore? I don't really.
Not that much. Christina used to call me champ.
Used to call him champ. So reviews, referrals, champions. I think what's interesting about this from a marketing strategy perspective is obviously you want to make sure that no matter what your campaign is, you're always ensuring that people other than yourselves are telling your story. And I think we're seeing this more and more prevalent with Gen Z, this matters to them. I would even say that millennial crowd, this is important to them. They care about what their friends are doing. And I'd say there is this really interesting thing that social media has done to us where we can just instantly see if our friends like it too, right? Facebook has this okay, here's a new group that's suggested for you. What was I showing you the other day? It got suggested for me, the lovers of Costco.
Yeah.
And it was 38 of your friends like this group. I do not love Costco. I mean, we go to Costco. I try to avoid it. I went into early labor because of a Costco trip.
True.
But it's just interesting, right? So all of a sudden, 38 of my friends like this group. Who are those people? Oh, this must be legitimate, right? Social media has given us, no matter what generation we've grown up in, this ability to kind of have the subtle check from our peers that, something is cool or trendy.
Yeah. And one of the things I like to talk, Marty Greif from Site Tuners talks about micro conversions. And so a conversion on a website, a lot of people are okay, a conversion on a website is something somebody buying something from you on a website. But if you think about micro conversions and around this concept, it's if somebody likes you and likes all your posts and somebody's commenting and somebody's sharing, it's that's somebody who's obviously very interested in what you have to say and what you're talking about. And that's a really good signal for you that might be a prospect for your business or somebody that might be worth following up with, right? Or, I use something called Proposify. So this is even something slightly different, but, I can see in that Proposify how much time people are spending on a proposal and which pages they're spending time on. And those are signals to me, right? So the digital age really allows businesses to get really smart with this concept of, referrals, reviews, and champions, and these micro conversions that could sort of be little steps towards a sale or towards something bigger.
Yeah, I think, there are two sides to this one. I think there's one in terms of paying attention because of conversions to make sure your marketing is going to make the sale. And then there's this other piece of it where it's you want people to start talking about you. From the kind of first part of that, for me, I always go back to things okay, even on MailChimp, you can see who has opened the email, what they've clicked on, how many times they've opened it. I think back to very early in CIPR days, and we had done a social media for business course in the community, and we had sent out the slides and sort of a cheat sheet and a thank you via MailChimp after. There was a business owner on that list who opened our email 7 times, clicked, downloaded, did multiple things. That was a huge signal for us to then follow up with him. And, we we've done a few different projects with him years later, and that was a fast conversion for us. And so I think if you're a marketing manager or business owner, all those tactics that you're doing, think about them, measure them, but also look for the people that are in there being your champion. And being, like you said, being your champion is as subtle as liking something on your social media platform, or as far as something as reviewing you. And then hopefully it's purchasing too.
Yeah. And reviews are huge, right? I mean, like you said earlier on, I mean, we've been working really hard to get more reviews and more action on our Google My Business listing, which is an interesting one. Google My Business is one I'm particularly interested in right now in terms of, reviews and things like that, because there's also a SEO component that goes along with that. And Google is one of these companies that will reward you by, using their assets really well. So, paid search, Google My Business, and other things will help your SEO, for example, right? But those things matter a lot, right? And people really look at those reviews quite closely, and it's just human psychology. And the other thing I'll say is that I think in the age of information that we're in right now, being really authentic and transparent is a really great way to generate those champions, and then to create these referrals and create these online reviews. And I'm going to give an example. It's a cannabis company that I follow on Twitter called North 40 Cannabis, or 40 North Cannabis. Sorry, I should know their name. But anyways, they recently found a little bit of mold in a piece of cannabis, and they immediately went on social media and they basically, announced to the world that they found this, and it was this batch and this lot number. And they literally said, anybody that, has this batch and lot number and has any problems, we will return it. We will replace it right away. And like, incredible transparency. But what was really cool when I looked at that post was the 100 tweets that followed, basically saying, you are industry leaders. This is how this industry should be. I am buying from you guys from now on. That is so powerful, that kind of marketing. People seeing that, first of all, that authenticity is really where it starts, in building that community of champions, being really authentic with your customers and your end users, and transparent. And then just that word of mouth that generates from that. And now in an industry like the cannabis industry, which is fairly small, that gets around fast, right? It's like wildfire. And so that's worth more than probably any marketing effort you can put money behind, getting that kind of excitement from your consumer about what you're doing and how you're behaving.
Yeah, I think about kind of this section. So reviews, referrals, and champions is like the connection internally or in your business between operations and marketing. And I think if we think about things like marketing tactics and marketing campaigns, that's your connection between the sales team and the marketing team. So, as you have a campaign and you're doing your tactics that have to do with that campaign, obviously your sales team needs to be in the loop. They need to buy into that messaging. They need to be ready to get leads, to convert those leads. So, you're funneling people into that sales process. And then, usually your reviews, your referrals, and your champions come after they've done business with you. So they've purchased something, they've come to dine, they've experienced what you have, they've done business with you, have used your services. And then there's this whole, how do you follow up and keep in touch with these people? As often people who have used your services before are going to use you again if it's one of those kinds of services or products. Two, I think about our floors. Our friends come by. Well, they haven't come by in a long time, but pre-pandemic, when they would come by and, oh my gosh, your floors, and you go, oh yeah, like this guy did them, Kai from Bultuff, right? Like they become this kind of speaker point. But again, it's like this connection between, okay, I've done my business with you, thank you. And now what, right? Like, is there an email marketing campaign now for these people that are no longer potentially touching sales, but are now kind of just within your company or your flow of business? So it's that kind of connection on the other side. And your marketing strategy needs to think about bringing them in, converting, but then also, if your business is a type of business where repeat customers are important, keeping them warm. And if it's not, it's about, okay, how do you make them feel so special that now they are a champion, or now they left a really great review?
Right. Yeah. And what I'll say too is that, I hear the comment from company owners sometimes, and they say things like, oh, well, we can't control what people say in reviews and whatever. So we don't want to promote that and whatever. And it's like, you know what? People are going to review and comment about, people are talking about your business, whether you like it or not. And so I'm going to make two comments. So one, you should really try to be proactive and arm and give voice to those people who are happy with what you're doing so that they can counteract if anybody is unhappy with what you're doing. And then number two, I'll just say is that I think this sometimes, it's like, you can't out market a bad business. And so there's nowhere to hide anymore. And so it's like, if people are giving you bad reviews, then think about maybe how you can be a better business or how you can provide better service. And don't get me wrong, sometimes people leave bad reviews for reasons that are outside of things you've done, or sometimes it's a circumstance or whatever. But if you're getting constant bad reviews or whatever, it's like, then there's time to polish up that should be feedback for you as a company owner, that it's time to polish something up and tune up your business a little bit, right? So I don't buy into this notion of, oh, well, we don't want to go there because maybe we'll get bad reviews and we don't want to promote that. It's like, that doesn't work today anymore. No. Nowhere to hide online anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So reviews, referrals, and champions is a part of your marketing strategy. So one, reviews, you want to have a tool, you want to have some sort of follow-up mechanism. Bird Eye is one that we use internally and use with many of our clients, that will actually remind people who've signed up for your list to submit a review, creates a beautiful dashboard. But you need to have some sort of mechanism within your marketing strategy that you're thinking about reviews. What platforms matter? If you're a travel destination, do you need a TripAdvisor platform? If you're cannabis, is it Weed Maps? Is it Home Stars? Right? Any of those things. So think about your industry, think about where people are looking for you. Referrals is a part of your marketing strategy. How are you empowering people to tell others about you? How are you making it easy for that referral to then translate into a sale? Is it discounts? Is it a recognition? Is it some gamification? And then finally, champions. How are you being, I think, open, out there, authentic as a business, that you are ensuring that people are coming alongside you? I remember years ago writing my thesis, couldn't tell you kind of where I read this. Wasn't my own words, was someone else's, but for every 10 comments online, as long as you've built those champions, 9 of them are going to come after the one guy that says something negative. Right. So yes, building up that follower base so that, one, you have some cover.
Yeah.
But 2, so it's not you anymore. It's people talking about you. And, sometimes champions bleed into your tactics a little bit in terms of, maybe it's a great influencer that, maybe you've sponsored once. We actually have had this happen where we've worked with an influencer with a client, and a year later they've come back and said, hey, I don't want to be paid for this, or I don't want that piece, but if you're willing, I loved this service. Could we, do a exchange for service in my, a post or 2? So it's sometimes you need to throw a match on the champion fire.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah. Both a defensive and offensive strategy, building your champions and getting reviews and referrals. And probably, in my opinion, one of the most important things every business should be doing for marketing, period.
It's true. So if you're a client of CIPR Communications, Google us, leave us a Google My Business review. I'll leave with that.
Bye, everybody.